What's up, everybody? It is Brandon Lokaren here, and today we are talking about will the housing market drop in 2024? So, first of all, the short answer of this, if you just want to get the 30-second on this video, the answer is going to be no. And I'm going to go into the reasons of why it's not going to drop and kind of give you an idea of where the market is going, what we're seeing here in February of 2024, and why it's not going to drop, really. So, let's go back, right? In order to predict the future, we always say that we have to look backwards. And one of the ways that we do that is look historically what happened 30 years ago. Now, I don't disagree that there was a housing crisis in 2007, 2008, and I wasn't in the business then. However, I do know that new home builders pulled out of the market, and they were responsible for about 1 million homes being put on the market every single year. So there's about 3 to 4 million homes that should have been built that was not built, right? So when you take away that inventory from the market, then it puts a squeeze on things. Now, yes, there was a housing crisis, but when you look 30 years prior to that, and I've said this before, there was a birth shortage, right? So the birth rates were completely down because the government legalized really the abortion stuff, right? So it's like basically there was less births, and if you want to predict where the housing market is going to go in 30 years, then you look at today's birth rates, and that's going to give you a better indication of where the house demand is going to be, because that's how many families, that's how many kids are being born, and that's how many homes they're going to need. So when you look at that housing shortage, it took basically in the 1970s, right? That's when they legalized abortion, and 30 years in advance in the early 2000s, well, things were still booming. Things were still doing really well, right? The 2000s boom, right? And then we had a war, right? And we had 9/11, and that causes a really massive jolt into the economy. So then you don't really see the failing economy or the thing that's about to come, which was ultimately homes were being built, and there were too many homes being built. Now, when the housing market crashed, it was not because, it was not, the inventory was, it was too much inventory, first of all. And the problem was the lenders were giving out loans to people who really couldn't afford, because they wanted to keep this thing going. They wanted to keep selling a ton of homes and just keep the market moving as fast as they could. So, for instance, like there's people still in prison today because they were racketeering, right? Like I would be the lender, my brother would be the mortgage, the realtor, and then my wife would be the appraiser, and then we were just racketeering, right? So there's people still in prison today for that. So when the new home builders pulled out in 2008, they were responsible for about 3 to 4 million homes that should have been built, that was never built. And what that did was it created a deficit in the market. So now we are short that many homes. You cannot just go out and build 3 to 4 million homes overnight. Like, it's not possible. It's not possible with labor shortages. It's not possible with material prices. It's not possible with land approvals. And also just really the feasibility of it, right? Like, when you think of it from the bigger scale, it's not possible because a lot of those roads, a lot of those areas hasn't been developed yet. The government hasn't built new roads, right? So because that slows down everything. So everything kind of regressed a little bit in 2008. So now, because of that pent-up demand, and now our birth rates have since, gone up, that's causing sort of a massive demand. And the problem is that people are staying in their homes longer. So it used to be that, most people would leave in about 5 to 7 years. It was the average. You buy a home, sell a home, and you get out. But because of where homes have gone in terms of pricing, it has caused a massive, sort of deficit. Because now, because we use the home differently as well, people are staying in their homes longer. So that has caused a lot of homes not being put on the market because people are staying in their homes longer. So that's also creating a squeeze. So that's why one of the main reasons why I believe home prices are not going to decrease really anytime soon. And lenders are obviously, guidelines have tightened, so I don't really see anything that happened in 2008 happening again. So basically, this trend is going to be, it's always going to be the same. So to give you guys an idea, last year inventory was down 50% year over year. Now, year over year of last year, it's slightly up because of, people are saying, okay, well, the 7% interest rates I get it. Things are going to be like this for a while, so we need to either move now or not, right? So that's kind of like where most people are at, and that's why they're making these decisions in order to move or not to move, and they're basing it off of their interest rates. Now, more people are deciding to stay in their homes because of the payment and interest rates rather than sell. So just to give you guys an idea, showings are actually down this year, and that's because of inventory. That is because of the inventory shortage. And of course, showings will be down, and of course, sales will be down because there's less inventory. So the other thing I will add here, side note, when you look at things and when you hear things on the news, do the full research. Like, look at the entire picture. Like, don't just zoom into one little pixel, right? Look at the entire picture. And the reason for that is because the news media is telling you, oh, home sales are down, home sales are down. So your thought up here is that the market's going down. Well, that's not completely true, because when you look at the inventory on the market, there's less inventory. So, of course, home sales are going to be down, okay? So that is it. So make sure you look at the whole picture. Look at the bigger picture, and don't just take people's word for it. Do your own research. Reach out to professionals like myself. We are here to help you and serve the community. Now, days on market. We're seeing days on market relatively the same as year over year. New listings have gone up, right? And because people are starting to get warmed up to the 7% interest rates, people are saying, like, you know, well, we do really need a bigger home, so it's time to move up. And we're not going to beat the 7% interest rate, so we just got to keep on going. The other thing, too, is that median list price across the Mid-Atlantic region is up by 5.3% year over year. So what that means is that the home values are going up. This is based on inventory shortage. And remember, it's a supply and demand thing, right? So less supply, more demand, prices will go up, right? More supply and less demand, prices will go down. And remember what I said about the birth rates? Well, birth rates have skyrocketed, and we're expecting to see a boom in the demand of housing because people need homes to live in. And the more kids you have, then the more families that creates, which then, you know, requires a new housing, and then it pushes home prices up. So remember that, you know, if you want to look at where things are going to be in 30 years, look at the birth rates, and that's like probably the biggest thing, the biggest indicator where the housing market is going to go. Now, because of the inventory shortage, the interest rates, when the interest rates drop this year, like I'm expecting it to, because it's an election year, and this administration, any administration, would do their best to make the economy look so good and so enticing that people will want to vote for them, right? So this year, I expect interest rates to drop maybe by 2%, and, you know, so then it would be in the 5 to 6%. And what's going to happen is all those buyers that were waiting on the sidelines because they want a bigger home, they want to max out their budget, they want lower interest rates, they don't want to pay the 7%, will flood the market. And do you guys remember what happened during the pandemic, right? So there was an initial stop, and then all of a sudden people just like jumped back in, and it was crazy. People were waiving appraisals, waiving financing contingencies, waiving everything, right? Going $50, $80, $100, $200,000 over asking. And that was the norm. So remember, there's all this pent-up demand because there's people that are waiting on the sidelines for interest rates to drop. And they've been waiting for the past like year and a half to get into a home. And they're waiting for interest rates to drop. So on that initial big drop that I'm expecting probably in Q2 of 2024, then you're going to see all that pent-up demand. The buyer pool is going to return. And inventory is going to stay the same relatively in terms of percentage-wise. It's not going to change. And then you're going to have multiple offers. Right now, to this day, actually, we are seeing multiple offers on our listings. We are competing with our buyers, and it is hard to win contracts out there. It is hard, especially if it's in a desirable neighborhood or a great property. So make sure that, you know, if you're thinking about buying, now is the best time to buy because there's still opportunities out there. We're able to just negotiate a 3%, almost 4% seller concession for a buyer of ours. And there is still opportunity out there. So, but that's not going to last forever. When that interest rates drop, then we will see massive return to the market. These buyers are going to go back into the market, and it's going to be like this ramp up period where it was just like during the pandemic. So I expect market to go up based on that. Now here's the thing. I am predicting this. This is based on my analysis and my thought process of where things are going to go. Last year, we saw roughly a 7.1% increase in the housing market, 7 to 8% increase. I'm expecting 8 to 12% this year in 2024 because, it is an election year. We're going to see a lot of push for people to buy homes because it is such a great investment. It's a tactile investment, and it's just going to cause people that want to own a home and achieve their dream of home ownership. They're going to basically want to jump into that and really own a home. So I believe we're going to see 8 to 12% increase in property values. So if you're waiting on the sidelines, now's the time, because then you can kind of get in early and then ride that wave as the property values go up. So because of inventory, because of the birth rates, and because interest rates are going to drop, I expect things to go into 8 to 12%. So housing market will not crash in 2024. It's not going to drop. It's going to go up. That's my opinion. Hit that subscribe button below, like, follow, comment, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Peace out.